dude, you got $175,000 in your checking account. What do you do? My cousin at the time, we had gone out to lunch, and I hadn't seen him in forever. I had to send somebody some money. And so he was like, just give me the cash, use my account, and I'll send him a Chase Quick Pay. He handed me his phone, and I was like, $175,000 in your checking account. What do you do? And he was like, real estate, man. And I was like, I'm done. Sign me up. Right? And it became this thing where quickly, I had to be in multiple places at once, but I'm serving drinks. And I got one guy calling me saying, list my house. I got to be in an inspection tomorrow. I got to go meet these buyers. And I'm like, I can't be in 3 places at once.
Right.
You know, I was friends with that bartender, that server. Dude, I need you to get your real estate license. It just very organically became this team that started evolving. And then we started moving to Miami and Tampa. I remember vividly being on the computer saying, this is the last city I do this in. All right, San Diego. All right, Miami. One more. You remember that show, Pinky and the Brain?
Yeah.
What are we going to do today, Pinky?
What we going to do today, Brain?
Yeah, take over the world.
This is another episode of the Knowledge to Currency podcast, where knowledge is power and currency is your king. I'm your host, Senator Porter, and then we have Mark Quesada here from the Quesada Group. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
It's an honor to have you on the show. I appreciate you being from the Midwest and growing up in the Midwest.
We got to stick together, bro.
Yeah, a lot of similarities.
Mm-hmm.
At this show, we don't just only talk about real estate or talk about entrepreneurship. We talk about financial well-being and growth. And you're somebody that I met that I felt I had a true connection with just because of our roots. And I want to kind of highlight who you are and what you do in the industry.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you ended up in San Diego.
San Diego. I was working with these lenders in Chicago.
Okay.
I guess let's rewind before that. I went to LA many, many, many years ago.
Okay.
And no hatred towards LA, but it wasn't a place I wanted to live.
Okay.
And I just assumed that California was all of LA. I thought LA was all of California. I thought that's what it was. I really had no interest in coming back. I mean, it was a cool place to visit, but couldn't see myself living there.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward about 15 years, and I'm working with these lenders who become very, very close friends of mine. Mike and Tracy.
Oh, nice.
You know them?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
SD Mortgage couple, shout out.
Hey, shout out.
But
Mike
they
Tracy.
were doing a bunch of my loans in Chicago, and they moved to San Diego, and they were like, dude, you got to come check it out. It's not what you think. And this was a long time ago. And I just remember getting off the plane. They lived in Carlsbad at the time, driving north along the coast, and I was like, is this Narnia, bro? Right? Like, you're telling me I can go to a vineyard, I can go skiing, I can go surfing, everything's here, and you got a city. It's, and it's, I guess this is, everyone's gonna have a different viewpoint about it, but I felt safe. Okay. Right? And it immediately felt like I could see myself here.
Okay.
Not only could I see myself here, but I don't really want to go back. So, I came from Chicago where we started our team in 2000. God, when did I get licensed? Like right after the crash, 2008, 2009. And I started a team in Chicago, and we were selling, 150 units a year, right? And when I saw the total volume of what that added up to, 155 units equals $40 million,
okay,
roughly, right? If you sold that here, that's like $17 billion in commission. Right, so I was like, you mean to tell me that the average sale out here is $890,000? Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I'm selling $130,000 condos. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm doing 3 times as much of it for a fraction of the pay.
Sure.
So it seemed like a pretty good place to go. And no hatred to any of you San Diego realtors, but I felt like the Midwest hustle does not exist here.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
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 So
separate yourself.
I thought so. So there's definitely some really hard workers out here, and people that don't sleep, don't take breaks, and I admire that. It's a passion that I'm jealous of sometimes. I like my free time, but it's I thought that I could come out here and make a name for myself, and in the short time that I've been here, I think that I have.
How long you been here now?
Oh man, not that long. not that long, but long enough to be doing big things, and it's happening faster than I would have thought.
Right.
It's opened up doors that I didn't know existed, but it's a great place to be. And I think that as long as we keep pushing, it'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
How big is your team now?
So the team right now, we've got about 20 agents. That's across Chicago and San Diego. We also have agents in Miami and in Tampa. So the Quesada Group is in 4 major cities. We were in Wisconsin for a little bit, but that wasn't
not the same.
We didn't know too many people there. Really was just doing like 1 or 2 deals for a developer that I knew out there. So we pulled out of there. But not too long ago, I was working with a big name
Mm-hmm.
and a big brokerage that I think saw that, recognized that it might be something they could use as a tool to recruit.
Got it.
Right? Big name in real estate, and we were doing this coaching together. We put on these classes for, to get more new agents.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice to have a brokerage that said, I want to help you. I want to make you grow. I want to be there alongside you because, man, I can't tell you how many brokerages I've been at. Berkshire Hathaway, Keller Williams, flat fee brokerages like Big Block, Charles Rutenberg, Real. I was at Realty Executives, and it's like this mix of these two things where you either pay a huge fee
Mm-hmm.
and then you get all this training as like a new agent,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then that fee usually doesn't go away. It
Right.
might shrink,
Right.
but it's still a big fee. Or you go to these little boutique shops or these brokerages that have these flat fee options, and there's no support.
Yeah.
There's no one there to answer your questions or show you how to grow. And so, after all that, I buckled down and said, how can I do something a little different, kind of an in-between, right? Because while I was doing this coaching and recruiting for Keller Williams, I noticed that I'd get these agents that would come in and they'd be like, hey, I want to come work with you. I see what you're doing. I want to learn how to get to this level of success. And I'd watch their eyes glaze over as I would go over, there's a brokerage fee, a transaction fee, a royalty fee, a tech fee. And it's just like, we're seeing sales go down from COVID.
Yeah.
And now it's 2020, end of 2022, and people that were selling 100 houses are now selling 60 or 10, and now it's 5.
Right.
And so meanwhile, they're looking for support and someone to help them grow and show them how to do better in this business. And I'm sitting there telling them, I can, but you're going to have all these fees plus a team fee if you want me to mentor you.
Right.
Right. So it very quickly opened my eyes that I'm getting the interest.
Mm-hmm.
People want to be involved with me and they want to have some of this culture and they want to learn from me or with me. And I think very much now my office is like an incubator of ideas, and we all just get together and we help each other. It's not just like I'm sitting there and you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing. It's very much a collective.
Which is better because you've said since 2009. So are you starting to see like what's happened to me in the mortgage industry where they are starting to regurgitate a strategy that you saw back before and they call it something else yet?
I'm not. Are
Okay.
you?
Yeah. So when I worked at a big lender for a long time, and they would always have like Anderson Consulting or different consulting firms come in. And because I had been there so long, they would have, okay, every year they got a new thing that we're doing to reach more homeowners, to help more people get into home ownership. And then they'd have like high performance sales is one of the things I remember they would call it. So then they'd tell you this technique that you're supposed to do. And then you'd be like, wait a minute. Isn't this like the technique they gave us like 6 years ago?
It's just a cycle.
Is it called something else?
Yeah.
And then another firm would basically be selling them the same thing. And I guess because the company was so big and the turnover, the new people would think it's a whole new thing. But
Sure.
the old dogs like me, we're looking like, wait a second.
I've seen this before.
Like,
It was
I
just
could
called
have
something
taught
else.
you guys this.
Yeah.
So that's not happening in your.
I mean, so when I got in the business, it was like right after the crash,
Yep.
right? And we had a lot of foreclosures, a lot of short sales happening. But I mean, I don't know if you remember like Fannie Mae Home Path.
Yep.
You remember that? And
Yep.
Home Steps.
Oh yeah.
Right? Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae had these programs for first-time home buyers where you can go buy a foreclosure, and the process was relatively simple.
Right.
But I would say, God, I don't know, but it was out of every 10 or 15 houses we sold, one of them was a foreclosure.
Okay.
They were everywhere.
Right.
I don't think we're seeing that yet.
Yeah.
Um,
Hopefully.
I hope we don't see that. I don't know. I mean, I also know that there were a lot of people that were preached to by lenders and by realtors to do this 2-1 buy down thing with the thought that in 2 years the rates are gonna drop. Right. So I'll just buy something now at 7%, do this temporary buy down, it'll go down to 5 and then 6, and then it'll be at 7. But by that time, that's so far in the future.
Yeah.
They've got to drop by then, and they're not.
Yeah.
So these people were, I don't know how many or what the percentages are, but I would say a lot of them probably thought that they would refi out of it before it got to where it is now, and now they're having an affordability problem.
Yeah.
Right? So
Absolutely.
what happens when they start missing their payments?
They better recall you and sell it.
I mean, I hope that doesn't happen, but I mean, it would definitely bring more inventory on,
Correct.
right? But at the same time, like, what happens if we have rates go down?
Well, I look at it from because I'm looking from a lender standpoint. They don't want them to like basically refi in 1 to 2 years because the lender that borrowed the money from the investor loses money. So that's why I think the Fed is kind of stuck because they have to keep the rates high to a certain period of time to pay those investors that basically borrowed all the money to the different lenders. But they're not going to tell us that. You know, that's
well, sure.
You know what I mean? So they want us to keep our money in those investments for as long as possible. So if rates were to drop, they lose a large amount of trillions of dollars. So
well, not only that, but if rates drop, how many people do we know that are saying, I'm not buying right now, I'm going to wait till the rates drop, right?
Lots.
Right. So what do you think is going to happen when the rates drops? All you guys are going to come out of the woodworks and say, time to buy houses, and what's going to happen to prices now? They're going to go even higher than where they are today.
Agreed.
I mean, we've got people that are working 3 jobs that can't afford a single-family house.
Which is crazy.
It's nuts. So, I mean, what do you tell me? That the average guy's got to spend $1.5 million for a house that he's got to rehab? I mean, isn't that what's going to happen if the rates go down? There's going to be a bunch more buyers. Do we have the supply to back up that demand?
No.
I don't know that we do.
No. So I got friends in Tampa that work for builders.
Yeah.
And like you put your money down, they start building the project. The builder makes money when the people, for whatever reason, can't get funding or fall out because now they got a house that's completely finished and this house is ready to go. So then they give premium dollar for it. So they love when the person can't perform on the purchase of the builder.
But then that house is built to spec for somebody else. But whatever, it's still a new construction house.
They got a waiting list. Yeah. So you say, okay, you can build one. It takes 6 months. But I got one that just came up yesterday. The people decided to go somewhere else. They'll give whatever story.
Wow.
And then they can mark up the price now because now it's ready today.
And then what happens to that buyer's escrow money? They keep it? Or, I mean, I'm sure it's different for situations.
Well, depending on what happens. So if you couldn't get financing, because what they're doing is no matter what your credit score is, they'll let you go to contract. And they say, okay, you got 6 months to fix whatever this credit problem is. If you don't, then they say, hey, sorry, you didn't perform. They'll give them their money back. But if you just change your mind, they keep your money. And then they give them a bunch of incentives to go with them. So they say, hey, use our lender. Don't
I've seen that. We'll cover all your closing costs. And we'll give you like the sub-zero package or whatever. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the majority of the lenders that I talk to, when we get a client pre-approved, we're looking at houses for 2 months, and then that buyer says, guess what, I just found something that Lennar is making. And then that lender says, what? All right, there goes all the work I did for this client because I can't compete with that. They're going to give them a rate drop. They're going to pay for their closing costs. They're going to give them the upgraded whatever in their house. He's like, I can't do that.
Yeah, and so then that's how they have that part unlocked. So if there was a young, I guess, realtor that was looking to join the team, or are you guys hiring now?
Oh, man. Yeah, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
So as I was saying before, I mean, the one thing that I've learned from being in all these different brokerages is that most of those flat fee free brokerages aren't going to give you the support. You're just throwing yourself to the wolves, which might be good for a veteran, but even veterans have questions and they want to work with somebody. They want to collab and have questions. So, from bouncing from brokerage to brokerage, I just said, why don't I just do this myself?
Right.
And that's where Black Label came from.
Okay.
Right. Black Label is a new office here in San Diego. We're Mission Valley. We have, it's an expansion of an office that already exists on the East Coast in New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia. I think they just opened one in Florida as well.
Okay.
West Palm. But we're new here in San Diego, and we are definitely hiring. It's very boutique-y.
Nice.
You're not going to get the corporate culture like you do at some of these big name brokerages where it feels kind of culty.
Right.
Yeah, but you're also going to get an owner and an agent who's in the business, who's there working with you, who's in the office regularly, who's brainstorming with you, who wants to hear your ideas and implement them with you.
Okay.
A lot of these places are just kind of like, go do your thing, bring me my split.
Yeah.
Right. And I need some sort of community.
Right.
There has to be a culture there. Right. And it's just organically has grown way faster than I thought that it would. We get one good agent who loves it, and then they tell 3 more agents, and then they love it. And it's just been growing very organically. I'm blessed for sure.
Man, you sound passionate about it. I love it.
I am very passionate about it. It's my own thing,
Yeah.
It's great to have your own thing and see how it's working. If you build it, they will come, right?
True.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got into real estate and
Oh
become a
man,
realtor?
how old was I? I was maybe 22, 23.
Oh wow, young buck.
Yeah, I was. Man, the story's kind of weird. So it was the internet had just become a thing, and so it was crazy. I ended up I was bartending and serving in a restaurant in Chicago.
Okay.
And no joke, the internet was like relatively new with like searching for real estate. Zillow had maybe been out for a couple years.
Oh wow.
And I remember my cousin at the time, we had gone out to lunch and had a couple drinks, and I hadn't seen him in forever. And I had to send somebody some money, and he was like, just use, what was it called? It wasn't Zelle at the time. It was
PayPal?
like Quick Pay or something, like
Okay.
Chase Quick Pay or something. And he was like, just send him money through this thing. I was like, man, I'm a bartender. Like, I've got tons of cash on me. My bank account's got $10 in it. Like I'm sorry, I don't know who you think I am, but I'm a bartender, and this is my money. And so he was like, just give me the cash, use my account, and I'll send him a Chase Quick Pay. And he handed me his phone, and I was like, dude, you got $175,000 in your checking account. What do you do? And he was like, real estate, man. And I was like, I'm done. Sign me up. Right. And he put me in class. He put me into my the Chicago Association of Realtors class, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I never looked back, bro. But I continued bartending and I continued serving. And like I said, the internet had like very recently started having listings online with Zillow and those websites and Trulia and that stuff. And I remember being on the phone with them and them being like, hey, you can buy this entire zip code, a really like poppin' zip code in Chicago. And it was like $230 a month.
Wow.
I know. And I was like, that's a lot of money, man. I don't know if I can handle that payment. I make maybe $300 a shift if I'm lucky. Like, that's a whole shift. I'm only working 4 shifts. What am I gonna do? Best thing I ever did.
Right?
Best thing I ever did, man. And I remember my cousin being like, where are you getting all this business, bro? How are you doing this? And it became this thing where eventually, quickly, I had to be in multiple places at once. But I'm serving drinks or I'm serving you sushi. And I got one guy calling me saying, list my house. I got to be in an inspection tomorrow. I got to go meet these buyers. And I'm like, I can't be in 3 places at once.
Right.
So, I was friends with that bartender. I was friends with that server. Dude, I need you to get your real estate license.
So
you got to come do this. I need your help.
Built your own army.
Teams weren't really a thing then. And
Right.
it wasn't built in a way to be like predatory or where I was I want to make money off your back.
Right.
It was really just, I need support.
Right.
I can't be here, dude. Help me out. You'll make money. I'll make money. Boom, he's licensed. Now I got 2 people on this. What do we call it? A team? I don't know. Teams weren't a thing. And so, it just organically grew like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had my Italian side here in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's from Cuba, so I've got all my Cuban side out in Florida. And so I would, bounce back and forth from Illinois to Florida, from Illinois to Florida. And
It sounds terrible.
it sucked. It was great, man. The winters suck. I go to see the palm trees. But in any case, I'd serve and bartend down there.
Okay.
Right? And then I was like, why don't I just duplicate this?
Mm.
Right? And so I started doing the same thing. And then my dad retired, and he was like, I'm bored, man. What can I do? And so he started working for me, and we started this like father-son thing out in Tampa.
That's cool.
And it just very organically became like this team that started evolving. And then we started moving to Miami and Tampa and Chicago and San Diego. And it was never something that I forecasted or saw, but I remember vividly being on the computer saying, this is the last city I do this in, man. I can't do another city. All right, San Diego, one more. All right, Miami, one more. And I'm just like, very slowly. What's that show? You remember that show, Pinky and the Brain?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do today,
what
Pinky?
What we gonna do today, Brain?
Yeah, take over the world.
Take
right,
over the
exactly.
world.
So it was very organic, and I've always been at brokerages,
Okay.
right? And it started becoming this thing where not only agents but teams would approach me and say, "Hey, how are you getting this business? What are you doing? Like, how do we become successful?" What am I going to do? Absorb that team and be like, well, sorry, you got to be the Quesada group. You got to drop the 123 name, 123 team, whatever, right?
Yep.
I can't do that. So I have to open my own office so that I can get agents and teams. And so it's, again, it's moving faster than I can dream of, but I'm rolling with the punches and we're doing all right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
The best part I like about it is you weren't even trying to do it. You're like,
no,
I just need someone to be meeting this guy for this inspection. I need someone to help me do this. I need more people.
Need more people, man.
And you were like, okay, I got to scale this up. How can I do it? And you're like, all right, I know other bartenders. So then what part of you, because I moved out here from Tampa as well. What part of Tampa were you living in?
So I was in Town and Country. My dad was over by the school.
Okay.
Right. He was in what's called North Tampa or New
Yeah,
Tampa. Yeah. Bruceby Downs and Bears Avenue.
Yep.
What?
I used to work out at that LA Fitness right there.
Oh yeah, for sure, bro.
Yeah. I lived in Channelside.
Oh, Channelside was great. That's where we used to take the cruises out of there.
Bro, now I went there last month. It's like a whole
completely little
Brickell over there. It's like Brickell Miami 2.0.
Well, they've said, and I haven't kept up with it, but I know for a time they were saying that Tampa was like the best place in Florida to live. Everyone was moving there.
Man, it's nice.
It's huge.
All my friends are trying to do like what their own. You should get a place here and go buy coastal.
You should get a place there. I know an awesome agent, bro.
Yeah, I bet you do. I bet you do. And then so now that you have duplicated yourself, you're in multiple markets. What's something that you have going that you want to announce to the world?
Oh man, other than the brokerage, the office,
that's
a tough one, bro.
You want to come back?
I feel like I did all my announcements already.
Okay, we can go back to it.
It'll pop in my head. I'll think of something.
No problem. And when I met you before, you had just sold one of your cars. And tell me, because you were very disappointed and almost hurt when you told me about it.
What's that?
Because you were like, I know that the market's shifting, but I want to get rid of this car and maybe get something later. But getting rid of the car kind of made me like sad. You were saying,
yeah.
So, but the car you went to was not a bad car.
Not
like,
at all.
One
bro.
like you got the Jetta again. Like you ended up getting.
Oh, that. Yeah.
You got a McLaren, but you had a Ferrari, I think.
I went from in the past 12 months. I went from a Ferrari to a Porsche, and now I have a McLaren.
Yeah. Poor guy.
It's not like I'm acquiring multiple cars. I have a serious problem where I get sick of them and I trade it in and buy another one. And usually I'm not saving money or making money. It's a terrible addiction that I cannot seem to break. But you drive one and then you want more, or you want something different. I mean, the McLaren's doors go up.
Yeah,
I had to have that.
That's a whole different ball game.
It is a different ball game, man. But that's definitely one thing that I'm very, very passionate about is cars. I've always been that kid with a million car posters in his bedroom, and I've always been infatuated with the new design and the new tech and the speed. So moving out here, I found a car club. Actually, I don't know that I want to put this on the air, but
okay,
we'll clip this little part out. But
okay,
when I moved out here, there was a period of time where, and if this is good, we can keep it. But when I moved out here, there was an adjustment, right? That we had made friends with the people that we loved, and we had a really tight knit crew of people that I could call or get advice from, or just the people that I loved.
Yeah.
Right. And when you're growing up somewhere, those people are kind of just thrown on you.
Yeah.
Right. You go to school or you go to a bar or whatever, and you meet these people and you say, yeah, those are my friends. We're in the same place at the same time. And you might be too young to have those standards. Sure. To know what you want in your relationship, or maybe you've grown to a certain point and you say, I don't want people like that have that characteristic in my life anymore. Right. But when you're younger, you just want a bunch of friends. You wouldn't want to know everybody and be known. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But when you get to be, in your late 30s and you move to a new place, you start to say, I don't like that characteristic about that person. I don't know that I just want to surround myself with that. It's not going to help my business grow or my relationship flourish. Like, you have higher standards for yourself, I would think. Sure. So coming out here and leaving all that behind, it was really hard to find friends and really hard to find people that we wanted to surround ourselves with that felt like they weren't going to bring you down. Okay. Right. And so my passion for cars led me to this car club out here called Fast Lane Drive. Okay. And Fast Lane Drive has changed my life, man. Really? They are some of the coolest people I've ever met. Some of the most humble people, some of the wealthiest people, but some of the most humble people that you'd ever meet. They'll never throw something in your face or make you feel like you're not enough. But we were ready to move and go back. Really? Because we just, I was doing great with work, but I needed more than that. The connection of people. Like, who am I going to call to go to a restaurant with? Like, who am I going to talk to about my relationship or, the growth that I see or, and being in that group, it's all these founders and people who are, entrepreneurs, and just, maybe even collapsed a few times, but got back up. And I think some of those stories are the most inspirational stories I've ever heard. And it really showed me and gave me the courage to start something and to not be afraid of it failing, because I can do it again. Who cares if it fails, man? Give it everything you got. And if it didn't work, why didn't it work? Figure it out. Do it again.
So what I'm hearing from you, which I really love, is you said a couple things. Number one, connection. Like, you can have the money, you can have the cars and all that stuff, but you still want to connect with people that identify what you identify with. Two, community. So you found a community. And then three, I love that you don't buy the car just to like get the looks or whatever. You love the car. You love how fast it goes, the specs of the car.
Oh, the shape of it, man.
Yeah, all that. So there's a difference, because we talk about that before with other friends. Like, one of my friends, he wants a Lamborghini, and I think he wants a Lamborghini just to show off.
As a status thing.
Yeah.
And it certainly is. It'll do wonders for your business.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got to think, when you buy certain things, what you attract, you may not want. But you don't know that until you have it.
Right.
So like, perfect example, one of my friends, he played for Minnesota Vikings. He had bought this Avalanche back in the day. Remember the Chevy Avalanche? Mm-hmm. Put these huge spinner rims on it.
Spinners.
Yeah.
I saw those on the highway the other day. I haven't seen those in forever.
So at first he thought that that's what he wanted. He wanted this car. He wanted everybody to see him. And then when we would go anywhere, you get all these dudes walking up, "Hey, man, let me look at your car." And he got all this unwanted attention.
Yep.
When you're already 6'4", 6'5", you're walking around, and now you come up in this car, and it's like a big old giant billboard coming up wherever you go. And sometimes you just want to go to the store and just leave.
Well, that's why you got to get a second car. Right?
Well, yeah.
I didn't roll up in that today, did I?
He did get a second car, but what ended up happening, the car he really liked, he couldn't drive it anymore because of the attention.
Right.
So I think a lot of times we don't think about that. We get something because we want it.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden you start seeing the attention you get. And some people like that, but some people just kind of want to blend in.
Well, I think in my business, it's something that I kind of need to have.
Okay.
Right? I'm not a believer in fake it till you make it at all.
Right.
But I do believe that success sees success.
That's true.
And money sees money.
That's true.
And I think when you have those things, people want to know how you got there.
Yeah.
Or what it is that you do, right? And I think the biggest part about being in real estate is shouting it from the mountain and saying, "I'm in real estate," letting people know, right? But in a way that's not aggressive and not a salesy way, right? So when people come up to me and they say, "Hey, what do you do?" Now I have my way. It's my megaphone, right? It's my mouthpiece. I can now say, "I'm in real estate."
Got you.
Oh, I need a realtor. I'm a realtor. I got a team of realtors. What do you need? I'll help you out in any of these cities.
Got you.
Right? So it's been good in that sense. However, I do see the other side of that because there's times when, man, I'm just trying to park my car. I wasn't planning on it, but I need a snack. And now I got people sitting in front of my car taking pictures, but I take that as a compliment.
So you take the good with the bad.
I take the good with the bad. I think there's a lot more good than bad.
I would work with you even without your Porsche or the Ferrari or the McLaren.
Man, if it came down to it, I would take the relationships and the culture and everything else that I have over that stuff in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and I could tell, though. I could tell you're not getting into that stuff just for that.
No, I like the shiny stuff. I like the sparkly
What do
glam,
you like it? You like it for you.
I like it for me, but also, like, at some point you realize, like, they're just cars, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's in a place of no one can replace a person.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
The relationships are what's real. I mean, real people are way better than,
Oh, yeah. Especially you being from the Midwest. Like, you want to see the real, the true, the good and the bad. Like you said, seeing somebody fail and get up, you respect them more.
For sure.
Because you had it all versus the person that never failed at all, never had any issues. They just kind of coasted through.
Yeah, man.
And you're like, well, you don't understand what I'm going, because we all go through something,
I don't tell a lot of people this, but
okay.
When I was like 16, 17 years old, I lived in a car for like 2 years.
2 years?
Oh, yeah, man. I would sleep on my friends' couches. I would, go to the bathroom at the gas station. It was rough.
Okay.
I didn't know where I was going. The home life wasn't fantastic.
How'd you get out of it?
Honestly, real estate got me out of it.
Are you serious?
For sure, man. I mean, I was struggling, and I would get a job at a bar or whatever, and then I'd rent an apartment. But it was tough.
Right.
It was tough. I had my first apartment when I was 17 years old.
Wow.
And I couldn't make the rent.
Right.
It was tough.
Right.
And I think about that all the time. I think if this doesn't work, I've been in really, really bad places.
Right.
And I've made it through that. And I can do it again.
Sure. Well, hopefully you don't got to stay in the McLaren.
But I'm not afraid of it, is what I'm getting at.
It
pushes me. It's like a fire that I'm always like, remember that kid you were?
Yeah.
Look at where you're at now.
Well, especially to go through school and everything, go through that and still make it through there and then build what you build today. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I like you even more. Even more. And then you were talking about coaching and stuff. How could someone be coached by you if they want?
Hit me up. Yeah.
Okay.
Mark at blacklabelrealty.com. Like I said, we have a new shop here in San Diego, and I want to be a part of your growth. I don't want to just like make the money off of you. As I said before, when I started this in Chicago, it was never a predatory thing where I see you as a paycheck.
Right.
Right. I want you to succeed, and I want to succeed with you, because if you're successful, I'm successful, and if I'm just taken from you, you're just going to leave.
That's how it should be, man. Like I've had leaders in the past where they didn't help you like grow at all.
Right.
Like you're just there going through the motions trying to figure it out. And you're like, well, when I need a problem, I got to go figure it out myself. Why is this person in charge of our whole department?
Right.
And they're not helping us do anything to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunate. And they're getting paid like really well.
And their feet aren't even on the ground probably. They're not even anywhere present, right? They're just taking your money.
Yeah.
Some guy in the sky collecting my split.
Yeah, when I moved here, I got recruited by a manager, and I didn't know anyone in San Diego. So I go into her office, and I had just had a meeting with, coincidentally, a financial advisor that I worked with when I was in Minnesota, had an office in Del Mar.
Okay, beautiful place.
Yeah, so she was vegan. So I was like, hey, can I take you to lunch? I want to earn your business, like old times. She goes, yep, you can take me to Chipotle. I'm like, because I thought I was going to have to take her to like a nice restaurant.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, Chipotle? She goes, yeah, I'm vegetarian and I like their like whatever kind of burrito, bean burrito or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay. So we go over there, meet with her. So then she's like, all right, I'm going to start sending you deals. So I was like, cool. So as soon as I get to the office, probably like an hour later, she sends me a deal. So I'm like, oh, awesome. So we talk to the customer, get the application going. Next day, she sends me another deal.
Wow.
Then she sends me another deal.
Wow.
She sent me a deal with the Vista fire chief.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, man, I'm about to be rich. Like, I'm all excited and stuff. So how it works at the from banking, you have to be licensed to sell mortgages like with real estate.
Sure.
And then you have to be licensed to do securities and
your Series 6 or whatever.
Yeah, so she was licensed for the financial advisor stuff, but she wasn't licensed for mortgage, but she was very hands-on. So if she were talking to her client, she'd want to hear the whole conversation with me and the client, and then she would talk to them on what to do. Evidently, my manager didn't like that. And she's like, you need to quit doing business with her starting today. And I'm like, excuse me?
And how many leads was that guy giving you?
0.
Right.
0. This is my man.
He's taking food off your plate.
Yeah, it was she. So I asked her, I was like, listen, I'm not going to not do business with this lady. I've just moved here. I don't have any, like, support system. You're not introducing me to any brokerages. And I literally have to meet people on my own. Yep. And this is a connection that I had from before. Thank God she's here. And I got 5 deals in a week. We're not turning this off.
No.
And she's like, well, I'm going to contact HR.
Oh, my gosh.
I heard her talking to the customer and talking about interest rates and stuff, and she's not licensed. And I'm like, yeah, but she's reading my email. She's on the email. And obviously, I'm the expert when it comes to the mortgage side.
Yeah.
So then she's like, you either tell her that you can no longer work together or I'm going to HR. And that was my manager. So to have a manager like you, because you see the bigger picture, like that lady was not trying to help me succeed at all. You know what I mean?
Man, I don't want to name drop any brokerages, but I've certainly been places where I tried to replicate a business model that was working, and then that brokerage said, and they put some red tape on it, some stoplights, and said all this has to change.
Wow.
And I was like, listen, I get where you're coming from. I can see both perspectives here, but instead of like just this hard stop,
Right.
I'm making money, you're making money. Like, let's figure out a different perspective instead of you just telling me, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
How can we make this work? Is there something else that we can change? Is there something that we can adapt? Is there another way? Because right now you're just telling me that my business isn't going to work.
Yeah. And it's not like we were doing something illegal. Everyone knows what's happening.
Right.
You're on the email too. So it's not like I'm just sending private emails to this lady.
Well, and this lady was this person's consultant.
Yes,
right?
Their financial advisor.
Exactly. So I've definitely had emails and conversations with clients and their financial advisors and their consultants. I mean, right? Otherwise, what's going to happen is that client is going to go take what you're saying and it becomes a game of telephone, and they're going to go talk to their financial advisor. Their financial advisor is going to have questions. Now it's going to come through that client back to me, and that telephone call just got super diluted.
It's way more steps than what's necessary.
It's unnecessary.
Not only that, so how we do is we consult you. So I'll tell you which products work best, how do amortization, whatever. You could easily take that and go to like another bank, and they have another guy like me that could do it as well. So if you don't do this, they're going to end up taking that to another bank, and you don't think that bank has financial advisors?
Right.
Now they could take their
An all-in-one shop.
securities and everything and say, hey, you bring it over here, we'll give you a discount on the interest rate.
Yep.
So you want to keep all that in-house if possible. And she didn't care. She was like, no, I don't like her. And you're
So
not
how did
gonna
that
work
end
with
up?
her.
What happened with that?
I don't work there anymore.
Probably a smart move.
Yeah. But so hearing someone leading like you're leading, that's how it should be. Like, hey, I'm here to help you. I want you to succeed. I want you to be happy. It's better when, especially in sales.
Yeah, but if you're doing something illegal, it's not happening. But not saying that's what's happening. But
exactly.
Like it should, like I said earlier, it's got to be an incubator, bro.
Exactly.
You have ideas. Let me hear them. Let's see if we can make a way to make us both money.
Yeah.
Right.
And if I had an idea that was like in the gray or bad, you advise me like, yeah, don't do that. And here's why you don't want to do that.
And here's how we can do it and remove those gray parts.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Exactly. So yeah, she was not on my side.
It sounds like it, but at the same time, like I said, she didn't want to try and figure out a way to
not
make it
at
work.
all. Not at all. She was like, nope, this is how we're gonna do
So
this.
did you still talk to this lady that was giving you the leads today?
I haven't. I should reach out to her. I haven't reached out in a while.
All of our follow up is not what it should be.
Yeah, well, no, but I'm doing consulting now. I don't do loans anymore.
Right.
But she was just a good person. You know what I mean? Like most people, when I would say, hey, I'm gonna take you out to eat, we can talk business, whatever.
We're going to Steak 48, bro. I'm getting that bone in.
Bro, one dude had me pay for steak and everything and then just ghosted me.
Wow.
I'm like, you could have just said, hey, I want to go to eat and I'm not going to give you any business. And I probably would have still took
let's
him.
go 50-50 on it, man. I like a good time. Let's go have some dinner.
I'd have paid. But,
Really?
But for him to just do that, was crazy. He's like, yeah, I think we're going to make a good partnership, whatever. And
oh, that speaks volumes about his character, right?
For real.
Yeah, so that's kind of better that you found out right away than found out later that he's just
That's true.
Some sleaze.
That's true. I agree with that. I think some people look at those as a loss, but I think of those like,
always got to be half full.
Yeah. I do believe that. Like if a person or a date or whatever shows you their true colors in the beginning before you invest in energy and time, man, I'd pay double. Like, thank you. So I can continue to move with the right people.
Because your time is the most valuable thing that we have, isn't it?
I agree with that.
Yep.
Is there anything else you want to cover?
Oh, man. I could talk to you for hours about everything, bro. But
yeah, we're going to Steak 48.
No, man. That sounds delicious. Tell them to get those martinis on deck. No, man. I think if you are struggling or if you're trying to find a way, I'm tired of hearing all these agents making these lateral moves from XYZ brokerage to WX whatever brokerage, and it's the same thing, wash, rinse, repeat, just with a different branding on it, and they're not getting anything out of it, right? Oh, there's a profit sharing or stock stuff, and you recruit 100 people and you see how much, $6 from that, right? Downlines and all this stuff. We're a small office. It's very boutique-y, like I said, but with that, you get someone that's going to want to watch you grow, and you get some culture, and it's somewhere in between. We're not that flat fee brokerage that's just going to say go do your thing,
right?
But it's an incubator of growth.
Which is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you don't see that very much. Oh, because I know you got your favorite lender, but if there was a lender that wanted to work with you, what's some things they could do to get your attention?
Listen, I get approached by lenders 17 times a day, my friend, and I tell them all the exact same thing. And that's honestly how I worked with some of the lenders that I work with now. There's a few. But the one thing that I always say on repeat is, I'm happy to work with you, man.
Oh,
You send me
wow.
one lead, I'll
Okay.
send you 5.
Really?
And you know how many people send me a lead?
Never?
0.
See,
Not once.
Bro, so you, because you've been in Tampa, remember I can't think of the name of the building, but it looks over Curtis Hickson Park, Sky Point, is that what it's called? It's a big high rise.
Okay.
I sent a realtor. I've been trying to do business with her forever. My boy had a property there, and his neighbor needed to refi, so he sent me the lead. So I was trying to impress this realtor. I give her the lead. It closes. She never sent me no deal.
Really?
Never.
Really?
And I would get deals. Well, I feel like this is why you interviewing me now, because I got all these crazy stories. So when I worked in Camino del Sur for Wells Fargo, Intuit had a relationship with Wells Fargo. I just moved here, so I'm trying to get business. And very rare would anyone come into that branch to do mortgages. They'd either come to, they lost their debit card.
Sure,
or
just
whatever.
banking stuff.
For whatever reason, this guy comes in and he's trying to buy a house. So we sit down. He's like, hey, I only have 30 minutes. Can you get me pre-approved? I'm like, yeah, no problem. So get him pre-approved. I was like, before you go shopping, don't go shopping this weekend. Let me get a full commitment from the underwriter to get a commitment letter. And then that's the same as cash, but it's going to take like 2 or 3 days. Can you wait? He goes, well, I really wanted to go shopping this weekend. I was like, just give me until Tuesday and I'll get the commitment letter. Because at that time, things were kind of slow. Rates were going up. They weren't as high as now, but they were slow. So I sent an email to management. They get it, a rush on it. By Monday, we got it. It wasn't even Tuesday. Monday, we got the commitment letter. I was like, hey, give this to your realtor. If they have any questions, let me know. If you need to change the amount, let me know. But you're good to go. This is the same as cash.
Yeah.
And I got it a day before I said. All of a sudden, 15 minutes later, realtor calls me. He starts interviewing me. How long you been in the business? I've had bad experiences with Wells Fargo in the past, and I don't think you're going to close on time. And he's giving me all these reasons. And I was like, hey, I realize we're a big company. There could be issues, but I've done this over 20 years. I got a full commitment. As long as the customer doesn't, I don't want to say his name. I almost said his name.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't quit his job at Intuit, he's good.
Golden. Yeah.
Like everything's been approved. His banking's with us. His assets are with us. We can see everything. I don't see any problem. Credit score 8 something. He's good. So the guy's like, we'll see. So I was like, okay.
The realtor said that?
Yeah. So then they go look, finally find something. He sends me the contract. So I set the closing date. I locked the rate. So I'm like, all right, Owen, we're good to go. I'm going to go order your appraisal. And do you have a title company you're using or escrow? They say escrow out here. So he goes, yeah. So he gives me that info. I get it all ordered. So then I got it approved to close within 14 days. At that time, that was like a big deal. It wasn't. Now it's not a big deal.
Yeah, now it's like 8 days. Right?
Yeah. So it was all ready to go. He didn't close because the people that we got prepared too quickly. The owners wanted a couple of days to go, but that's not either one of our faults.
No, right.
He still had to fit. He couldn't. He still had a place to stay because his lease wasn't over where he was at. So then I got it all closed on the day we were supposed to close, actually a week early. Call that realtor. I'm like, hey, I know that you had bad experience with Wells Fargo.
What'd you think?
But yeah, he's like, oh, I will never use you guys again.
What?
And I was like, well, I thought we could we had a rough start, but we were able to build a rapport. He goes, no, thanks for closing my loan, and hangs up in my face. So then I called the guy who bought the house, and I was like, yeah, our engagement wasn't really good. Like, he goes, oh, yeah, he was telling me to use his lender the whole time, and he didn't believe you could close. And every time you would, like, give, like, news early and update him, he would still say that you weren't going to close. So I was kind of scared that you weren't going to close. So when you closed, I was surprised because when it worked for Wells, they gave into it like bonus, like a closing gift, and they gave him a discount on the interest rate. So they incentivized him to use us, but the realtor the whole time wanted him to use his broker. So that's why I asked that question, because it's interesting. Like everywhere, it's different. Different people have different relationships.
Listen, man, I mean, I try to give my clients the best service that they're going to get.
Right.
And I think that over the amount of time I've been doing this, I've curated a team that is the cream of the crop.
Nice.
And that is all I want, is for when I refer somebody to know that they're getting the same level of service that I give them from somebody else.
Perfect.
Right? And that they can put their stamp on something, and that their word is their word, because that is something I live by.
Right.
If I say I'm going to do it, it's happening.
Right.
Right. And if it's not happening, then I didn't say it was. Right. But if I'm open to working with new people,
right,
I just have to vet them, just like that guy did.
Oh,
right.
Man, he was on me.
The problem is that he wanted to probably hear the opposite of what you were telling.
Yeah.
How long have you done this? 20 years? I was hoping he was going to say 6 months. Can this guy close this deal? Yeah, it's going to take 60 days. But when you gave him all the news, that was probably better than what he expected.
Oh yeah, he didn't believe. It's like, no way.
He didn't believe any of it.
No way it could. And where I worked, we dealt with like, the best people. It was one of the top branches in the country. That's why they recruited me from Tampa to come there.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, the manager wasn't what I thought, when I got there, and wasn't honest, just saying.
It's crazy how you can have an all-star in your office, but that all-star cannot do their job if they do not have somebody pushing them and helping them grow from behind.
Yeah,
it just stunts your growth completely.
That's why you're a manager.
Exactly. You have to see
people.
that potential, and if you don't, then you shouldn't be running an office.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
I mean, you got to water these plants, bro.
Yeah.
Right,
bro. I couldn't agree more. So I appreciate your wisdom, your tenacity, and just doing the right things, man. Doing the things that help people get better.
That's right.
They need to have more people like you in the industry.
Thank you.
That we're here to serve people.
We're here to serve people.
Right?
And
that's the whole point.
It's not about the commissions. The commissions are great. I mean, I wouldn't live and I wouldn't have what I have without the commissions. But that's not why I do this.
Exactly.
And you can very easily tell the agents out there that is why they do this, right? And they might be really good at their job, but it sets us apart for sure.
I agree. Yeah, I'd use it in a heartbeat. Maybe we get some deals in Tampa going.
I'd love it.
I got some investors out there.
Do you?
Or here that want to invest out there.
Hey, man, I've got crews out there. Let me know what you need.
Let's do it. Well, in the words of Dr. Dre, just chill till the next episode, and that's the wrap with Dodge the Currency.
Nice, man.
It was good?
Loved it.
What do you guys think? What's up, guys? It's Senator Porter here, reporting to you live from the Content Factory, San Diego. If you want to shoot a podcast or you want to make content, this is the place to do it. I'll shoot all my content here and let them know that the senator sent you, and they'll hook you up. It's contentfactorysandiego.com, reporting to you live. Come check us out.